people would say, Ginger goes in and she takes an activity or an idea or a concept and Ginger buys it, meaning she makes it really cool and beautiful and and a great place to hang out.
Yeah. Welcome to Opportunity Knocks. I'm your host, Todd Patton, and I have a special guest today. I have the one and only Flesher-Sonnier. How'd I do?
Good.
All right. So, Ginger, welcome to Opportunity Knocks. And let me just tell you, the podcast is about when opportunity's knocking, and it's really to motivate and inspire entrepreneurs to hear stories. And your story, we've never met. We just met now, but your story is definitely inspiring and motivating. The fact that you're welcome. I want you to take me back to when you were teaching. What grade was it? High school, right?
High school.
Tell me about this. Where at?
I taught in two schools. I taught at Meshemane High School up in Bucks County, Pennsylvania, halfway between New York and Philadelphia, at a public school. And those were great years. I started that in 1992 through 2008. And then I retired. I took an early retirement incentive when my daughter graduated high school. So we both graduated in Meshemane at the same time. She went off to Brown and I went off to Charleston, South Carolina. And I got so bored after less than a year.
Were you teaching there or you were done teaching?
I was
in
done.
Charleston. Yeah,
I was done.
Right.
So for a year I did nothing and I was going crazy. I formed like a softball league and a kickball team.
Trying to figure out.
Yeah, I was like, all right, I got to do something here. I didn't anticipate being like such a drop in, feeling needed because my daughter just went off to school. So all of a sudden I wasn't a mom. I wasn't a teacher. I was like, what am I?
Yeah.
What do I do with my life?
Identity.
And I looked up some positions down there and I went back into teaching at Ashley Hall, which is a private all-girls school in Charleston on the peninsula.
The high school also?
It is a high school, all girls and private. Reese Witherspoon went there, Maya Angelou, and Barbara Bush. So it has some great alumni. And I went in there and started teaching, and it was a bit of a culture shock.
From public schools in Pennsylvania to
to private school, all girls in Charleston. At first, it's funny because in the beginning I was like, all girls education, this is stupid. You know what I mean? It's not preparing them for the world. Right. Like, this is like, it's not reality. And I was converted after like a month. I was like, wow, okay. So these girls, they don't worry about makeup. They come rolling in. Sometimes, they have to wear the uniform, but, they sit together. They're in small classes. They'll like lean on each other while they're, doing their lessons. And I ask questions and they respond. And I realized I started to compare it to, public high school where, the girls just, they let the guys do it. Unless they're like a really outgoing extroverted girl, most of them just kind of sat there and let stuff happen around them. And these girls were so involved in their own education. It was so refreshing.
That's amazing. Plus, wasn't it the culture-wise, like how they're raised? I mean, I'm assuming this, but I don't know. But I would think they were very polite, because that's like the Southern charm, right?
Southern, yes. Very
it's a big difference from the Eastern part of...
that's where I learned that the Civil War was not the Civil War. It was the War of Northern Aggression. And all kinds of... That's great. But it was just funny, the different viewpoints. But it really was refreshing because the girls kind of ran the school. So what we found, is that when they went off to college, they weren't stifled by men. I thought they would be like, whoa,
shock.
Like, oh my gosh, what do I do? No, they just took leadership positions and roles, and it was just amazing. So
great.
I was wrong.
And how long were you there for teaching?
I was only there for 2 years.
And then during that second year, when you finished that, is that when the opportunity came to build this little empire that you're building, which I love?
I had just gone through a divorce, and my current husband, I had met him, and he's a retired Green Beret, and he took a position in Washington, D.C., contracting, and we moved. So, I retired for a second time and moved up to the D.C. area.
Okay.
And that's kind of where this whole thing started. So he was being deployed even as a contractor to Afghanistan and Somalia. And I was like, this is rough. This is,
Wow.
I was never a military wife, so I
Yeah.
had been married for 20
And
some
Green
years.
Beret at that level.
Yeah,
I mean, that's like
So I was like, what is this? Like, you were going away all the time?
Yeah.
I'm not cool with that. But just because, you know, my dad's a Vietnam vet, but it wasn't his career.
Sure. When he was done, it was done.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, this isn't cool. But so he had the opportunity, they were going to send him to Libya, and he had the opportunity to instead go to Germany for a 3-month stint, and I was allowed to go. And I was like, okay, I could do this. So while I was over there, and while we were over there, on the weekends, we would travel to all these different countries, and I was always on TripAdvisor Googling things to do. And I kept seeing these things called escape rooms.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, what are these?
What year is this, Ginger? Just
2014.
Okay. Oh, wow.
Yes.
So 10 years.
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
So
escape rooms, I've never, at that time,
right,
no
at
one's
that
ever.
time,
All right.
I was
And,
like,
and
what
this
are
is in
these?
Germany?
This was in Germany,
Okay.
but
You travel in Europe,
Yeah.
you could travel anywhere
yeah, the
easy.
first one I think we did was in Prague.
Okay.
So, you know, and Paris, and you know, every city we were going to, we did our first one in Prague, and this is where opportunity knocked, because I walked into this, and I'd been a high school math teacher for 20 years. I was the high school mathletes coach, so I was all into puzzles and games, and I always loved puzzles, even as a kid. And we went into this first one, and it was like in a dingy basement, all furnished with thrift store furniture, and
Rugged.
dingy, but the puzzles were cool. And I walked in, and I immediately thought how I can improve on this. I was like, oh man, first of all, this hasn't really hit the U.S. yet. There was one in Seattle and one in Orlando.
So you're researching already once you get done with that.
As soon as I got out.
You're Googling
the very first
US.
one I did.
Yeah.
I was like, what are these things? And then why am I seeing them everywhere? In Paris, it was above the Louvre and things to do on TripAdvisor.
What?
Yeah, so TripAdvisor has since changed its algorithm to, you know, categories. There were no categories. It was simply
just things to do. Right.
And all these escape rooms were at the top of the list in every city. So I was like, oh my gosh, all right, not only can I make this so much better, I can make it like attractive and cute and fun with, there was no area for groups. Like one group came in a little waiting room and then left. And I was like,
no social, it was just you go and do that and then leave.
You go and do that and you leave.
Yeah. You were envisioning something
and
where
I'm envisioning something where you could have a party, oh my gosh, you know.
Corporate events or whatever. Yeah.
Corporate events.
Yeah.
Crazy. So after I left the first one and we kept doing them, he didn't like them at all.
He's like, this is not a good idea.
This is great. So I just thought about how to improve them. And while we were still over there, I created a website. I designed my first room. I knew that if I was going to open, I had to do it in Washington, D.C. proper, because on TripAdvisor, I wanted to be number one, you know, to get that exposure. So I was making sure that I was going to be in Washington, D.C. I didn't have a place yet.
Now, at this time, was Washington, did you consider it home? Because that sounded like a temporary...
Sorry, yes.
Okay, I know you were living there, but I wasn't sure.
Fully relocated.
And you were comfortable, you're saying, this is where we're going to...
Yes.
All right,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
So now you're looking in Washington.
I didn't even look at places yet. I just built the website. I designed the room. I did all this stuff, right?
Oh, that's great.
I had a booking system hooked up. I didn't think anybody could see
awesome.
my website. You know, I'm like, who's going to find this website? So I published it, but I was just like
but no one's
playing with it. Yeah, I started getting bookings. I didn't even have a place.
You had nothing?
Nothing.
Like
nothing. I created a really cool website.
Wow.
And people were booking it. And I was like, I had to email them all. I had to like shut it down. And I was like, we don't even have a place yet. Like, where are we going to show up?
That
I was
is
like,
amazing.
but I will let you know as soon as we do, and you'll be the first ones to come, and you'll be free. You know, you can be my testers.
Awesome.
And they're like, yay!
Awesome.
So it's funny. As soon as we got back, I started looking, and I was a teacher. I wasn't, a business person. I never had a degree in business, although I taught high school math. AP statistics and calculus. And
you knew
like
numbers,
that.
I
knew
finance.
Numbers
You're good, but as far as finding a location and that's
business, no. So I started looking, and all these landlords are like, can I see your business plan and what's your history and what's your background in business? And I was like, I was like, I don't really have one, And I got lucky. I found this woman on Craigslist who in Georgetown had a place for rent. It was an office. And she had heard she was Russian. And they were huge in Moscow, escape rooms. And she's like, oh, yes, this is going to be great.
It was an office, like a regular
An
for
office.
business, like a law firm would rent?
Yeah, I didn't know anything about like certificates of occupancy and zoning.
Oh my gosh.
I knew nothing.
This is great.
I don't think she did either. She signed the lease. She gave me her certificate of occupancy number. And I moved in and started renovating and adding these escape rooms.
Was it in like a street where you could walk into it, like a restaurant type
we
area?
Were next to Starbucks.
Oh,
so
nice.
in the beginning, when we didn't have a big lobby, we'd be like, go wait in Starbucks. We'll text you. Come on in.
That's great.
It was nuts.
Amazing.
It was crazy. And then the other funny thing is that I didn't know you had to have a business bank account even. So, people are just like paying me and I'm depositing it into my personal bank account. And my bank kept sending me notices. It looks like you're conducting business out of a personal account. You have to open a business account. And I thought they were just saying, trying to sell me a business account.
Yeah. Like, you're an aggressive salesperson.
Yeah, so like 3 months later, after like money was flying in, it was crazy.
But that fast you started making money.
It was nuts. In 3 months,
crazy.
I had Darren retire to help me.
Get
we were
out
making
of here.
that much money. It was insane. People didn't believe me. So
now, did you sign a 1-year lease,
Yeah.
long term, just a short term?
For a ridiculously low amount of money. It was like crazy. But it was funny, and she didn't know. She was Russian. And
Yeah.
So I opened one room and immediately started working on another one. By the way, they shut my personal bank account down and froze all my funds.
After 3 months?
I was like, oh, there's laws.
That's...
Oh, okay, cool. I'm cool again.
I love it. I love it.
SEC. Got it. All right. Cool.
So how long did it take you to get the second one?
Well, we opened the second room in the same location and then the third room. And
it was big enough for three rooms?
Yeah, it had 3 offices in this little office and a little lobby. Right?
Oh my gosh.
And then there was this lawyer next door who, because we were full all day long, it was crazy, like with all the people coming in and people cheering every time they won. So the lawyer next door is like, I got to get out of here.
So you have
like,
another
I
floor
can't
space.
conduct business.
Yeah.
So the lady was like, he left. Do you want it? And I was like, yeah, can I blow the wall out in between? She's like, sure.
You're kidding me. Amazing. So this is all within less than a year.
Oh, yeah. Once. It was crazy.
You struck gold. I mean, that's
I
like...
did. I literally struck gold. But, again, it was opportunity. I noticed these things were number one
You
everywhere.
paid attention.
I noticed they were in the city proper. I couldn't be outside the city. It had to be something to do. And I realized that TripAdvisor was free marketing and Yelp.
But wouldn't the rent be crazy in that?
It was like $3,000.
How is it so cheap?
I don't know.
Like
office. She didn't know better. I don't know.
Unbelievable. But
it was crazy.
So what I love about this is how you were aware and how you thought ahead. Begin with the end in mind, right? Like Dr. Stephen Covey says, and you did that on a trip there, and then to put all the pieces in place and to build a website without even having a business. I mean, that is impressive.
It was
so funny. That's great. So you have now 3 rooms in your one location.
Yes.
So is that like 3 different businesses? I mean, it's one company.
No, it's like 3. So people were saying you do an escape room once, you're not coming back. So that's why you have like 3 different rooms.
Got
you know what I mean? So
different style, different.
Yes.
Did you have any of the rugged ones like in Germany, or was it all?
No. So that was the other thing that differentiated me. The other one that was in Orlando, we went in and it was beat. Like everything.
That was your second.
No.
Okay.
We visited.
Okay.
Yeah. So we got back to the U.S.
Got it.
I was like, let's go see the ones that are existing, and Orlando was the closest from DC. And it was just like shabby. You could tell a guy did it. So I went in with like all this high-end furniture, high theming. By my 3rd location, they called it the Disney World of Escape Rooms. We had a full bar. It was gorgeous, absolutely stunning. It looked like a boutique hotel. So all, the FBI and the CIA would come and do team building at...
Oh my gosh.
Yes, People from
because
the White
FBI
House.
is right there. Yeah.
Yeah. I can't say who.
Yeah.
They'd have Secret Service come in and shut it down to come do my escape rooms.
Oh my gosh.
It was a riot.
And how long did that go for?
That went on. I sold them until 2021. But what it did was I self-funded from the very beginning. I just took all of my earnings. We kept the same lifestyle for years. And I just kept putting all my earnings back in and reinvested it into the business to grow the business. And then I started to realize, okay, so what are other experiential activities that are happening, trends that haven't hit the US yet. So looking at Toronto and Europe, ironically, they're way ahead of the US in that type of entertainment. And I noticed the axe throwing.
Mm.
And I was like, oh, geez. But I noticed all the axe throwing was happening, and this is 2016, I noticed, in warehouses, plywood walls, chain link fences. So I was thinking, all right, I need to make this
same as you did,
female friendly. I want women to come and want to do this and think it's cool. I want alcohol. I want a bar.
Axes and alcohol.
I want it to be like a Canadian lodge.
Yeah.
So I started moving in that direction, and we opened our first one in New York City late 2017, and it went nuts.
In the city?
In the city, in Brooklyn.
Jeez.
In Brooklyn, and it was gorgeous. And
you went for the top. I mean, you're going in areas that are DC.
I knew the tourist, because DC was a great market.
Sure.
Not so much today, but it was a great market because you had locals, you had tourists, and even the locals were transient. You know what I mean? You're always getting new locals. It was crazy. I
want to ask you something. I want to stop you for 1 second, because I really resonated with what you said, because I think a lot of people, and I'm guilty of this too, is you made a lot of money right out of the gate with this. Money was coming in. You said you'd had a check going in your personal check account, and you're like, but you said you lived the same. You didn't. A lot of times people see that and they're like, let me go get a new car. Let me do this. Let me upgrade this. Let me buy this. You didn't. And you did that for a couple of years, right?
Many years.
So you just reinvested back in your business. That's discipline.
Yes.
And where did you get that from? Like, how did you, without having a business background?
It felt right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So a lot of this is gut instinct. It felt right to go in with a high barrier. Actually, axe throwing and escape rooms had a very low barrier of entry. But I went in with high-end finishes because I wanted to be the last one standing. I knew it was going to be faddish, just because, that your gut instinct tells you that. I knew both of those would. So I knew competitors were going to flood to it as soon as they saw how successful I was. And, it was being printed in the media and everywhere that, what we were making, and like people were catching on.
Yes.
And I noticed so many people coming to our venue in Brooklyn and like scoping us out, and so many places went out and copied our design and decor
right out of the gate.
Yeah,
quick.
I had to like trademark it, and I had to be like, you have to get rid of this, you have to get rid of this. This is our exact design.
And the brand, because you've done such a good job building your brand, the Ginger brand. How was it? What was the name of the company? Your first business?
No company. It was Escape Room Live, and then Kick Axe Throwing. And then I didn't create a holding company until 2018 or 19. So that,
So now at this time you had that, did you already have the axe throwing?
Yes.
So you had we had multiple escape room in one location in DC.
Right.
And then you had the axe throwing.
Yes.
And then you built the brand, the umbrella,
Yes.
And that's the Ginger brand?
The Ginger brands, yes. So, yeah, the escape rooms I spread out. We opened one in Alexandria, Virginia, another one in a different area of Georgetown. So we had 3 locations and 15 rooms going on it at one time. And I only sold, honestly, because we were starting THRōW Social, and it was taking up so much of my time and energy and focus, and it was making so much more than the other venues and
the social
operations. THRōW Social.
THRōW Social.
Right. Where you were earlier today.
Yep.
Yes. So that brand, I have 2 locations and 1 opening in Miami. And it was time for me to redo all of my escape rooms, and I had done them myself, created all the puzzle designs and all of that, and I was like, oh God, I can't do that. And especially when the profit margin is less on those than on THRōW Social, I'm going to put all my energy there. So it was time.
Yeah.
It was perfect time.
So now THRōW Social is location in Delray. By the way, is amazing. I went to a networking event there.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was my first time there, and Steve Dickstein.
Yes.
Yeah, he had with the Delray. I guess it was on a Tuesday, and it was just such a fun spot because you got live music, high energy there. Then you go to this room and it's axe throwing. Which, by the way, funny story on that. My friend from high school reaches out to me, and I didn't know. I never thought axe throwing. He's like, "Do you want to sponsor me? I'm a professional axe thrower." He was on. He's like, his name's Dorian Marisola. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Shout out to Dorian for. But yeah, he's getting sponsors now, and it's like a legitimate
it's a sport.
Yeah,
on
it's
ESPN.
amazing.
It's fun.
It's
fun.
So So take me back now. So the THRōW Social, when did you open? First one was in Delray.
First one was in DC.
Oh, DC.
2020 March.
Wow. And is that still there or no?
It is. Yeah, but
Right.
It was really bad timing.
Yeah.
We were open for 3 weeks or so, and then had to shut down.
And it was
going gangbusters. We were excited about how.
And they were strict. It's different from Florida there, right?
Oh,
like,
way different.
Yeah.
We honestly were closed for 2 years. 2 years, pretty much, because we were considered bowling, which is bizarre because you're in a lane, and I don't know. And bowling was shut down up there for a very, very long time. So it was almost 2 years before we could actually open and have food and beverage and activities. So that was crippling.
And now,
but thank God, Florida was wide open. And while we were waiting for everything up there, I came down, found a location, opened up down here, and we were making money and thriving down here, and it saved everything up north.
Isn't it amazing how that works?
Unbelievable.
It's good government we have.
Yes,
here in Florida. So
yeah, thank goodness.
Yeah, I know. So as far as the brand and building the brand, is there anything? I mean, Ginger is your name. You know, my company's called Patent Marketing, so it wasn't much when I had my agency. Ginger brand. Like, how did you come up with the? I mean, obviously it's your name, but is there any like backstory to it that you were saying, hey, and it seems like you're such a big thinker. Is anything that you could give us a little hint on what's coming down the road or future?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I know we have Miami coming, which is exciting, but
yeah, that is
I'd love
exciting.
to hear how you plan on growing Ginger brands.
Yeah. It's funny. I went with the Ginger brands because not only my name, but people would say, you know, Ginger goes in and she takes an activity or an idea or a concept, and Ginger buys it. Meaning she makes it really cool and beautiful and and a great place to hang out.
Yeah.
You know, and I also like to make it all ages, you know, family friendly, because when my daughter was little, I was always looking for somewhere to take her and activities to do that were fun and different, you know, and immersive. And there's not a lot out there. So
you're right.
Even the axe throwing, you know, it was age 2 for the escape rooms, you know, as long as, you know, the parents watching, and we have cameras in the escape rooms and a game master. So you could control that. But I didn't want to exclude. So many of them excluded kids. I was like, no, this is a fun thing.
It is for kids too.
They can find stuff. A lot of stuff is finding things.
What ages would you say?
I allowed 2 and up. And then the axe throwing in the beginning.
So my 8-year-old would love it.
Love it.
Oh, we're doing. You know, I've never done one.
Yeah, they're fun.
All right, we're gonna be going to Delray and do that.
You know, a lot of the puzzles are more cerebral, and they can't do that. They love helping, finding. You know, a lot of it is great for them.
And where in Miami?
I don't have any escape rooms in Miami. I've sold them, but
no, not escape rooms. But THRōW Social.
Oh, THRōW Social's in Wynwood. Yes.
What a good area.
Yeah, and it's a great location. We're taking over. I think I'm allowed to announce this now. We're taking over the Oasis, which is a huge outdoor live music venue. They have Live Nation concerts there. It's stunning. They only opened in 2021, so everything is new and fresh and perfect. They have a 6,000 square foot indoor area that's gorgeous. So it's a full restaurant and bar inside, and then the outdoor patio is kind of like Delray, where we're going to have 10 cabanas. We're going to have the stage, live music, DJs, and games, lots of games for people to play.
So games outside of no axe throwing, but cornhole
or light up ping pong or light up beer pong.
Awesome.
We're looking at getting a sliding board put in with a ball pit. You know, just fun adult things to do.
And bar,
there'll be 3 bars.
And food wise, you have
full food. Yep, has a kitchen.
You know, I pulled this up to Delray. I was hoping I would get a little taste of some of the food. We'll have to maybe come back and do that again. I'm going to get a tasting.
Yes.
I heard the food's awesome.
Yeah, it really is.
Steve told me it's like really, really good food.
Yeah, people are so surprised. They think it's just going to be bar food, but it's not. It's really delicious.
That's amazing. So I'll tell you my takeaway with this. This has been amazing, by the way, is, you know, I'm going to use the word aggressive as a business person, is not being timid. You weren't scared.
I was not timid. Yeah, that's right.
I love that. Is that you just did it. I mean, without even having the business account. I love that story.
It's so funny.
I've
learned so much along the way.
Isn't it amazing though, Ginger, how, I mean, I'm guilty of this at least, but everybody's so focused on, I got to get a business card, not so much a business card today, but I got to have this perfect, and I got to do this, and and it's just, I got to get t-shirts and hats and pass it. You don't need any of that.
No.
You know, and that's what I love about your story is that, you know, Nike, just do it, right?
Yes.
You just did it.
Yes.
And I love that. And
yeah, if I had thought about it a little bit longer, I probably would have been like, oh, geez, no, I have to learn how to do this and this and this. But you kind of learn as you go.
Yeah.
And you look like an ass sometimes, but you have to just suck it up and be like,
and
okay, now I know. I know.
But you were very strategic about it too, because there's one thing being reckless and just going out and doing it, but yours was very strategic. I mean, look, putting it next to a Starbucks in that area. That's.
And my husband, he was the one that said, he's like, anywhere near a Starbucks, Starbucks has done the research already on the demographics, so you're safe.
Exactly.
So we're always near a Starbucks.
That Chick-fil-A or Starbucks, right?
Yeah, he's like, they did it for you. Just follow their lead.
Well, Ginger, it's so great having you in here, and we're 30 minutes already, and it flew by.
Wow, really?
I know, yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
gosh.
It's been amazing, and tell us where we can find you. So it's THRōW Social.
THRōW Social in Delray Beach, THRōW Social in Washington, D.C. That's attached to a kickaxe. It's on the second level.
Okay.
And kickaxe is on the first level. So it's like you're in a Canadian lodge in the winter on the first level, and upstairs it's a tropical paradise. It's like Palm Beach.
Awesome.
So you take the elevator up, and you're like in a whole different world. It's kind of cool.
Oh, that's
and
awesome.
And we have a rooftop deck and everything up there.
Sounds like a great date spot.
Yes.
But you also said kids. Bring the kids.
It's during the day after 9 p.m. on Friday and Saturday.
No, yeah, nighttime. Yeah, no kids should be out after 9. I don't think.
No.
My 8-year-old, her bedtime is 8, so we're good there.
You're safe.
But Ginger, it's so nice meeting you, and really appreciate this, and this opportunity knocks. We had Ginger, and I learned a ton from you, so thank you.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah,
it was great being here.
Awesome. All right, we'll see you.